Hello, and as you can tell from the bags in our eyes, or under our eyes, we have just finished the Welsh Tango Nuevo Festival, which was the UK's first Neo and Nuevo Festival. And now it's time for us to reflect back on what was good, what was bad, what needs changing, and basically how we can progress in the future. So we know that a lot of organisers, after they put a festival, say how great everything was. We're a little bit different from that because we will actually put out in public what things went wrong and therefore look to improve in the future. And this is one of the reasons why our festivals keep getting better and better. And we probably should address that first. Even though this was the UK's first Nuevo Festival, this is actually the sixth festival myself and Alison have run, because we've run 5 Welsh International Tango Festivals, and the sixth one of those will be in November. So we are going to be using this event, or our past experience of those events, and also the Nuevo event to inform decisions for the International Festival coming up. So let's think about what was good, or why we actually did this event in the first place. So the reason why we wanted to run this event is, one, there was an opportunity for it. Secondly, me and Alison, Nuevo, Alternative and Neo Tango is the things that we actually like personally. That doesn't mean we inflict that on our students or people who come to our events. Yep. We normally try to run events inclusively, so there's traditional tango, and in our classes we teach traditional tango, we teach Nuevo tango, there's a bit of everything.
And we use all types of music so that our students get that grounding in all the different types of tango, in all the different types of music, so they can make an informed choice. And also so they can go to other events that may only play trad, or events that may only play Nuevo, so they're able to participate and be comfortable in those situations.
Yeah. We also use it as a stepping stone as well. So especially, so if you are a traditional tango dancer and you are open-minded and you want to explore something a bit new, you can come and you'll still get that sort of traditional tango stuff that you're used to, and you can ease yourself in. And that's something I think was quite good with the Nuevo Festival. We had workshops designed for, we labelled them as beginners. By the way, this video isn't in any order, it's just us coming up with what we think as we go along. So we had workshops advertised as beginners. What we meant by beginners is people who've danced tango but may have only danced traditional tango, or we use traditional as a loose term, and want to step up to Nuevo. So they weren't for like pure beginners, and I think that was one of the criticisms we had, that people did, especially the reversicadas one or the soltadas one. People came into that who are fairly new to tango, even though they are actually reasonably good already, and they go, "Oh, that was much harder than I was expecting." That was the reason for it. We should say that this event did actually cause us some conflict as far as our ethos and philosophy goes, because by its very definition, a pure Nuevo event is not inclusive. Everybody was welcome to come and pay us, of course, but actively we weren't. No. I say we're not covered.
We were actively not using a certain area of tango music or certain areas of styling. We were choosing to focus particularly on the Nuevo and Neo area, so therefore we are excluding people who maybe have made that choice that that's what they prefer, the traditional realm, and that's fine.
So that was a bit of a conflict for us to overcome, and we sort of justified it by the point of view as we know in South Wales there aren't many events that play Nuevo or alternative, so by definition they're not inclusive either, or by our definition they're not inclusive. So it was to really highlight or give those people in South Wales a chance to come to an event that they'd actually enjoy. And for us to enjoy as well, because we felt excluded from quite a lot of events in the South Wales scene and the surrounding area as well. I know some people will not like us saying that, but this is our honest reflection about that, and that is how we feel. You can't tell us how we feel about being excluded from stuff. I think, as I say, the beginner workshops went well. It was a good mix through. Comments we had from other teachers and people was they just really liked how friendly all the dancers were, and how the workshops were all set out and all the contents covered, and how good the teaching is, and also how good the music was in the evenings. other than my own DJ set, we can't take any credit, and our own workshop, we can't take any credit for the teaching. We chose our teachers because we've assessed them and we think that they are high-class teachers, and therefore invited them to teach, or they answered our invitation, and then we were happy to have them to teach. Same for our DJs as well. But I say we can't take credit for what they did because they are just brilliant in their own minds. One thing we probably do think, which we did see from the Malongas as far as the dancing is concerned, there was, even though we had fairly equal role balance numbers, we don't talk about gender balance, we're talking about role balance. There did seem to be a lot of women sitting down at one point. So for our festivals to come, what we're going to do is introduce a women's hour, probably in each Malonga, or followers hour, whatever you want to call it. I'd say women's because that's just the more generic term, but where they are the only people who are allowed to go to ask others to dance, to try and get that empowerment and overcome that stigma as well. Yeah,
because although we always encourage anybody, regardless of their gender, to ask for a dance. You can use cabaret if you want, but you can also just go and ask people, and regardless of role or gender. I think sometimes if you're not used to that, overcoming that is quite difficult. So yeah, I think it depends on where you've been dancing previously or what other dance scenes you're in.
Yeah. So I think that's an improvement we want to make for next time. Going back onto a similar one, we also did have some people who just came to Malongas who mainly only dance traditional, and I know from speaking to people who've danced with those people that they did struggle a bit. So we can only offer class if they're local to our area. We can only offer the classes. It's up to them to come along and choose whether they want to come to those classes and explore more of tango, or convince their usual teachers to teach more areas of tango, and that goes for the rest of the country as well.
Or play more different music as well.
Yeah. Again, something we can't really do much again, but again, it's some of the feedback we've had, so we have to discuss it. We're not going to hide it for people. As far as the actual event was concerned, if you've been to the international festivals, normally we try and do everything in one room. This time we had 2 rooms side by side, and that did offer a new opportunity for us to put the food in one room, which meant the main room was less messy. We could have a different arrangement of tables, which was more efficient. People could go into the other room and help with the food. We could set up the food in the other room while things were still going on, so we weren't interrupting. There was a space for people to go and help themselves to food if they weren't doing a workshop. So I think that was good. Yeah. So that's something we're going to definitely keep.
I think it was nice to have a separate space so if people weren't in the workshops or somewhere. I mean, there are other places you can go and sit, but I think to still feel like you're part of it, but not right in the centre of it. I think people appreciate it.
And having the Tango Cafe with just music on for dance. And I want to say here a massive thank you to Paul for actually doing that. Originally we were just going to put a playlist on in there, but Paul said he was very happy to do that. So Paul from Huddersfield Tango Loft, massive thank you for
doing an extra slot.
extra slot. That's again something that we should probably say. All our teachers, DJs, and I'm not sure about Morven, who actually became a VJ. He messaged us a week before and said he was already booked on for the festival. He said he did some VJing, so we invited him to do a set on the Saturday. It was brilliant. So come on to the lighting in a bit. But all the teachers and our DJs, well, except for Chris Story, organised their own events, and Chris has been to enough events. So I think that really helped. So none of our teachers or DJs are like big international names. You won't see videos of them on YouTube performing in class festivals. No. You won't see them.
They're all local teachers, aren't they? All run their own clubs or events.
But they're all just as good as any international teacher that comes in. But because they also run their own events, they know what stress is on mine, and Alison, and know when to chip in and help. And so I think that was something that was really, really good.
And it's also really helpful that you trust people to be professional, run their class, manage the room well, make sure everyone's included. So
although Mark and Alice did run 20 seconds over time on their first workshop.
But it means, I don't have to worry about what's going on in that room. I can concentrate on all the many other things that I need to concentrate on. That's really helpful, not having to supervise people, because we know they're going to do a good professional job for people.
Yeah. So talking about going back to the food. people were very grateful for what we catered.
very
Always at our events, there's a lot of food anyway. Few things we changed. First of all, the sweet cart.
We did have a sweet cart.
And that was quite interesting. It was on the Friday night when it started, it was quite quiet around that sweet cart area.
Yeah.
But as people went on through the night, they started getting into it. And it was quite interesting watching grown adults leave with a little bag of...
yeah. Then they go, ooh, I haven't had this in however long.
Yeah, well, that's one of the reasons we put it in, to have a nostalgic there. As far as the rest of the food was there, I think we sort of got roughly the right balance of food. We should say that, again, this is not criticism of other teachers or other organisers. We don't like to home cook food for the really big events. We keep our kitchen clean, obviously. But
there's still allergens. It's still a kitchen that handles allergens.
Yeah, and it's also our home kitchen.
Yeah.
The risk, and we've never deemed the risk. We know, again, people like the idea of and say, oh, it's so nice to have homemade cake, or look at the attention of detail you're putting into it. But from our point of view, it's a risk factor, and if we buy cakes in from proper suppliers like Tesco's or Costco, we have the list of what's in it. We know it's been made in a proper kitchen to proper standards. There's that element of responsibility and accountability there. So that's what we do. And then
it's hard to make that amount of cake for that number of people without it taking you days and days and days and days.
Yeah. But I think it's more about the safety concerns we have with that. And we do have a lot of vegans and gluten-frees, and this time we even had low-salt diets. And
diabetic diets.
Yeah, so it's all about trying to manage that. We did break our rule for that, so on the Saturday evening we did cater our own food. Probably never again. We put on a gluten-free vegan pasta, as you know, with gluten-free vegan pesto or gluten-free vegan tomato sauce. Then we had feta that people had added in, or a vegan alternative to feta. We had the Mediterranean mixed veg, 6.5 kilos worth, which actually went. The pasta was about the right amount we've had. We had
a bit left over.
We had about 4 kilos pasta we bowled up. With the salad bags as well. So it just about worked out okay, I think, for that. But again, it was always difficult to note, as we've known from, the international festivals where Goy's Cuisine comes in and caters for us with the famous gluten-free vegan curry. Ask if you've not been to the international festival, ask somebody who has, and they will
talk about the curry.
They'll talk about the curry. What was I about to say? I lost my train of thought. So we've talked about having that catered, and we know from that festival that even though we say there's a dinner provided, people still go back to their hotels and
go out and have dinner before they come back for them longer.
Or they just don't read the emails and
or
the timetable and miss it, or as I say, just eat anyway. So we didn't know how many we had. I think we ended up with pretty much a full complement of people eating it. So it's quite difficult to judge that.
Yeah, because you don't want to have too little, but you also do not. We really want to avoid things like food waste, and I think we did quite well. We didn't actually waste that much food this time around. No. So I was only a couple of bags of croissants that I gifted to my co-workers this morning.
Yeah, we did have to waste some strawberries.
Yes,
we went to Costco on Thursday, and we planned to use the strawberries on the Sunday, even though we kept them in the fridge. They 3 kilos of them had. In 1 kilo packets, they had mould growing on them. Also, same for raspberries. So we had to run across to Co-op to
buy emergency fruit.
The breakfast this time. A lot more people had breakfast than we've ever had.
Yeah.
So again, that was
good. People good feedback for that. They really enjoyed it as well. And it wasn't heavy, and it was just and a nice way for people to chat and catch up and chill out a little bit first thing on a Sunday morning.
Yeah, so very happy with all of that. As far as, again, just having people, obviously we send out emails. This is something that I'm not sure how we're going to improve on. So we sent out emails and asked people what workshops they had, and they wanted to do breakfast. We didn't have replies from all of them. We have had issues with emails going in junk. One problem we've had from this festival, which we've never had before, so when you book onto one of our festivals, we ask you to fill in a form on our website, which asks you just what workshops you want to do, what's your email address. That comes into us and we email you back with the payment details for what you want. the number of people that we had that didn't reply at all, even when we chased them up, or then when we did manage to chase them up through social media, just in case they had gone into events. Oh no, sorry, something else has come up. We're not. Don't want to come. It makes things really difficult for organisers to try and judge numbers. If you try to register for something and then don't bother.
And change your mind, but don't inform the organiser.
We also had people who were booked on this time. Some people who were ill and they messaged us, but we also had some people who didn't
turn up at all.
Didn't turn up at all, and that's a nightmare for our health and safety and fire risk. So we can't even we don't check you in physically in front of you, but we know who's there. Because we go around and have a look, and people aren't. There's multiple ways into our rooms, so if you aren't, you might have come in for another entrance. And we may not know. We assume you're going to be there, so that can be an issue as well. So please actually reply to emails and be respectful for organisers and talk to them. Again, we know it's harsh for people to hear, and it seems like a criticism, and it is. But again, it's the honest reflection of what we have and things that we have to try and work on. So we'll work on it from our side to try and improve that. But
because I think people don't realise how much work goes into running any event, no matter how small or how big it is. But getting people to book on in the first place and not leaving it to the last second is one thing. Getting it roughly balanced again is always a problem. Usually, unfortunately, it's leaders that are always late, from experience from other people as well as ourselves. Not answering or expressing interest and then not saying, actually no, I'm doing something else. So, it's just an email. It's just an email, a quick email saying, oh sorry, we're actually going on holiday or something, which, that's fine. And then we can kind of, otherwise you're sort of that question mark on the list of, we're not sure.
And especially since we have a non-discriminatory booking policy, which means that we don't put people on waiting lists, especially followers. That's something to think about. So I think all the workshops were brilliant. They all ran to time. Good contents, nothing more to say about those. Malongas, Friday Malonga, we were in a bit of a rush. I think we made a mistake in putting Lorenzo and Ganka's workshop on the Friday. When Lorenzo was also helping us do the lighting and set up the projector and stuff for the Friday Malonga. Because the timing of it meant that we sort of run out of time with the lighting, which means we're trying to either adjust it on the fly during the Malonga, and we were still rushing around a bit. So that's something we need to readdress and just get our timings to be a little bit more professional there.
Shuffle people around a bit.
And also it was very hot and humid.
It was very hot.
Which we actually did solve there, which we went out and on the Saturday morning and I bought air conditioning units and fans. So
yes, and I borrowed some fans from about the place.
So
it was much better the following 2 days.
So
much better.
So
we now have even more fans, so we're fully prepared now.
Yeah, so if you run your own events and you need to borrow fans at any time, just give us a message. If I just come and teach for you, come and pay us.
Bring fans.
Also the visuals on the Saturday, we have more than connecting up to both projectors.
I think
so we have the projectors against the windows and against the board. Normally on the board we just play videos off YouTube, but having them both ways. So we're now going to invest in some projectors and...
Yes, and I think on the other side, the flip side of that, which I think has been a bit of a problem before as well, is the videos that we do project, it's a playlist on YouTube, and if there's monetarised videos on there, it does play ads. So unless someone is sitting there and monitoring it and skipping the ads play, and it looked like they were quite irritating ads.
Yeah.
So, because I wasn't in the room a lot because I was busy doing other things, so I think maybe we need to get a premium licence or work around. If we're going to use those videos again, then work around that and change that, I think.
Lighting on this, I think, again from the International Festival, lighting has always been a bit of an issue. This time I think it was actually fine.
It was much brighter. I think we've invested in more lights recently. Obviously it's still got a bit of light coming in from outside, even the blinds down. The sun hasn't quite gone down.
But even so, it was at 10, 11 o'clock at night.
It was still a lot brighter than usual,
Yeah, so again, improvement there. Sunday we kept the lights up, but the band was there. And even though the band played more traditional music, people still really enjoyed it. So
it's a different vibe, isn't it, when it's live?
So that was good. Again, we used the opportunity, because we had so many organisers from around the UK coming, not only teaching and DJing, but also just coming down just to support and learn themselves. We held a Nuevo Neo teachers, organisers, musicians, whatever, forum, which we could have handled better because we didn't really. It was quite a late edition, and we didn't have a fixed time, so we put it after lunch on the Sunday. It was only meant to last 20 minutes, which it did. and just chance opportunity, but trying to fit that in because we couldn't fully announce it and get set a time aside. Some people missed it and such like. But it's something we're going to work on better. But it did really open our eyes to how much Nuevo and Neo organisers and teachers really want to collaborate with each other and really help build the scene and give more dancers a chance to do that. So that's something that's great. We'll be setting up a Facebook group for that. It did actually work okay because the band actually did need to come and set up, so that was...
And we had space in the other room for people to dance if they wanted to dance at that point as well. There's music going.
People actually enjoyed Swansea.
Yes, the sun was shining.
Most of it. So people went to the beaches. You got to see how beautiful the city was.
People went to the beach after Malonga on Friday night at like midnight. So.
Yeah, which was great to hear about. It was also... people saying that Swansea is actually quite nice.
Yes, a lot of people hadn't been to Wales before, so yeah.
That's something we really want to come over, is trying to attract people into Wales. People are very scared, especially from England.
It seems quite a long way away, but it isn't.
We frequently drive to Bristol. It's not that far.
Reading, Southampton, Yorkshire.
It's fine. We have motorways.
Yeah, we have one.
Parking.
Yes, parking.
Again, outside of our control is pay and display parking on campus, and there's only one pay and display machine in the main car park, and it often breaks, and it happened to break this.
It had broken before. I had contacted Estates about it, and then it was working again, and then it broke again, and I'm going to contact them and ask them to please put some signage on the machine to say where the next nearest machine is, because we're very aware that if you don't know the campus, you don't know where the nearest machine is, because it's very confusing. Being on campus, if you're not used to it. We're very, very, very used to being there, so I think sometimes maybe we take it for granted a little bit, but having that there. But we did make sure that we had the web address up on the projector screen so people could pay for parking online that way. I think that was quite helpful for people. Yeah.
So two more things. One, there's always something new that goes wrong every year. And this time, people are stuck in the lift.
Yes,
we do apologise massively.
Yeah, hugely. That must have been really awful. And
we're hoping we managed to get you up fairly quickly.
I think so. Security did come over and we did check over the lift and it seemed okay. It's just an old lift in an old building. And
there was something wrong with it because both me and Ben got into it, and the lift was saying it was at 90% capacity, which would be 540 kilos. So I know I'm a little bit of a weight at the moment, but I'm not that much.
Not that much. No.
So again, apologies for that, and we'll try and make sure that lift gets some sort of service and over time. So finally, just a massive thank you to those who helped pack up.
Yes, packing up. Or even setting up.
Packing up. So on the after each Malonga, people putting their cups in the bin.
Yes.
Rubbish, massive help.
Bringing me cups, it was marvellous.
It really helped us. It meant we got probably an extra 45 minutes in bed sleep, which we really needed. Can't help you. Thank you enough for that. And also the... admittedly it was our own class, but thank you to them for helping us pack up on the Sunday. When we did the festival, it was just myself and Alison by ourselves, and 2.5 hours of the festival, we just managed to get the rooms back to it. We hadn't even packed up cars or anything like that, and we were in bits at that. This time we had 6 or 7 people helping, and it just
But even like Saturday night, other people who were not in our class as well, other organisers were helping pick up cups and just being super helpful. Always people asking me if they could do anything to help, especially other people who run their own events or run events in the past who look at me in the eye going, I know how you feel, do you need any help, kind of thing. Do massively appreciate that. What was the other thing I was going to say about that? There was something else. Yeah.
You can tell this is unscripted and live.
Yeah.
And also we're still tired.
My brain is still not 100% kicking into touch really for this. There's something else to do with people being really helpful, and it was,
Okay. Anyway, we'll wrap up the video here.
But I did have one other thing. I think for me, for printing purposes, I think I got my signage out early this time, which I think is good, because usually it ends up being a very last minute thing, but all the signage went up and I think that all seemed to work. People seemed to find the room absolutely fine. Timetables that I've had posted around, I think maybe I need to print an A3 in larger font. And we do leave some information sheets around, but I'm not sure how many people looked at those, because I did have to answer the where are the toilets question a lot.
Yeah.
And we do try and guide people through the building so they walk past the shop, the toilets and the bar. The bar wasn't open because it's outside term time. We try and guide you so you see all the...
Still recording. Still recording, yeah.
Okay.
But we will wrap up soon. Yeah, so signage is good. Oh, one thing we did want to improve is on our waste reduction. We used barely any disposable plastic cups or coffee cups this time, so our investment in more of those worked.
Yes.
Next thing for us to sort out is plates.
Yes, we'll have to do some research on plates. But yeah, plates was a big issue. I think that was the only, but they are biodegradable plates and stuff like that. But yeah, that was it. I mean, I was really pleased that we put barely, like, literally, I don't know, probably used about 10 disposable cups. Really chuffed with that, because the last time we had bags and bags of plastic, and I think everybody's very aware that they don't want to be doing that. And I did also notice people using water bottles and brought their own cups. That's also very appreciated, because it also means I have to wash up less.
So yeah, overall I think very successful. Oh, people also commented about how good value it was, and let's face it, if you booked on early you were paying £80 a person, or £150 for a couple,
for a whole weekend,
or if you were booking as a group, £60 a person. So yeah, all our festivals are run like that, with excellent discounts and good prices. So
and the thing, feedback that we had yesterday, actually, someone was saying that how nice an event it was, how friendly it was, but also that they felt they could just be themselves. They could dance the way they wanted to dance, they could flip between styles, roles. They just felt like a comfy, safe space for them, and I think that's really important to us.
So yeah. Anyway, if you have watched all this, so thank you for watching. If you do want to leave us a review, we have got a Google review feature on Urban Tango Nights, and also on our Urban Tango Nights Facebook page. We'd like to have reviews on that because it gets it out more. Please tell your friends about our events, and, as I say, organise groups to come down and visit our festivals. They're always worth it. And we will have 3 festivals running in 2025. Check out the email which we sent this in for you to see those. Anyway, we're off to get ice cream. See you soon.